I'm going to call the standing committee meeting for DPW to order. I'm Councilor Carney. I'm joined by Councilor White, Councilor Driscoll, and Councilor Hogan. So let's get started. Here's the first item is the green infrastructure. Is there someone who can speak to that item? Anyone?
Commissioner Robinson?
Yep, sorry. Green infrastructure, is that the county green infrastructure?
Let me
I
check.
thought I had item 14. What item are we on, Counselor? Sorry.
So, yeah, I mean, it's the first item that's here that I was emailed. It's the revised request for legislation, citywide green permission ordinance, Onondaga County for green infrastructure projects.
Okay, that's my item. Sorry. I had a different list, I think, or something. Yes, this is our annual program with the county where they do various green infrastructure projects every year, and we're basically amending the existing IMA with the county to add the 2021 projects, which I listed in the letter, and also included a chart showing all the projects that are shaded at the bottom. I can go over them if you want.
Are there any questions on this item for my colleagues? Okay, I'm going to make a motion to add this one to the agenda. Can I get a second? Anybody? Bueller?
I think
I'm not on-
Counselor,
I'm not on your committee, but I'll second it.
I think Counselor White is the only other committee member on at the moment.
You know what, Councilor Driscoll, I'll take what I can get in a second. You know,
I'm a good second. I'll
Yeah,
vouch for you.
I'd rather not have the slew of items that we have not get onto the agenda. So okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Next item is looks like cure in place in the sewer linings.
Yep, that one's mine too. So this is a project where the county wants to line some of our sewers to eliminate the inflow and infiltration of the sewer, flows going to the treatment plant. So they've chosen these miscellaneous sewers on Hiawatha from Solar to the Creek, and North Salina from Court to Butternut, and Wolf to Danforth, and North State from Lodi to Butternut. And they'll do this work, and then we will retain ownership, accept the work and retain ownership of the sewers. And there's no cost to the city.
Hey, is this a project that they've done in the past? I mean, obviously not the specific area, but have they, taken or paid for and done the linings and things like that in the past, the county?
No, this one is a little bit different. We have gotten some grant money from the county to line some sewers in the Meadowbrook area, but this is the first time they're lining our sewers. They have separated our sewers in the past, taking combined sewers and building a new sewer so that we have a separate sanitary sewer and a separate storm sewer, but this is the first time that they've been lining our sewers.
Okay, are there any questions from my colleagues on this one? Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to put this one on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
Favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item Here's it's the Lodi
The
Street
next, up-
project. So
yeah, that would be Neil, I believe.
Yep, Counselor Neil Burke, DPW. This is a bike lane grant via the Transportation Alternatives Program from New York State. So it's an 80-20 match, and this is our portion of it.
are losing on-street parking with this project?
We won't know yet. We haven't entered design, but we could certainly take some away if you'd like.
No, it's quite the opposite.
Yeah, sometimes there's design compromises that we have to make, but we try and be cognizant of all the needs in the neighborhood. So as that process moves forward, we'll definitely be open to input and everything else.
Sorry, Neil, I missed it for a second there. Where is this going to be?
This is on Lodi Street.
Lodi.
Yeah, between Butternut and Erie Boulevard, the Empire State Trail.
What blocks of Lodi there, Neil?
I don't have the numbered blocks in front of me, but between Butternut and Erie Boulevard.
So Butternut South then. Correct?
This is over in like my district, going
Yes.
towards
Okay.
Holly Green neighborhood over there, on the backside.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. If there aren't any more questions, I'm going to make a motion to put this on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And the next item appears to be again the Lodi, but the authorization of it. So, with that, with companion pieces, do we need to vote on it again? I guess this is just the authorization of it. So I'll make a motion to put that one on the agenda.
What's that? You need to make I need to make a motion.
Yeah. If I could get a second,
Yeah, I'll second.
all right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Okay. So let's see. Here's this next one is the DPW. It's a waiver of competitive bid for flash parking, I believe, for the ability to accept cards in all our parking garages. Is there someone that can speak to that? Walk us through what's going on here.
Yeah, Counselor Carney, this is Corey Dunham. So, as the council knows, we retained Laz Parking as the operator for all of our garages. And so what they have done, which was outlined in the RFP and was the intention from the beginning, on our behalf, they've conducted a competitive bid process for revenue control equipment and for closed circuit television to make these upgrades into our garages. And so, initially we had put the idea out there to have them purchase it on our behalf and then finance it, and we would pay it off over a certain period of time. But in conversations with them, it really would make more sense financially for us to just purchase the equipment right up front. And so, it would save us money in the long run. And so it's a waiver of competitive bid because, we didn't bid it out, but they did it on our behalf. It was a competitive process. And if there are any changes I need to make to the letter or any additional details folks need, please just let me know.
And what I have, it appears there's 3 items here that are in regard strictly to the actual closed circuit, like all of that, right? And then there's a couple of
Yes, there's three items related to Laz Garage. So 2 of them are related. It's the waiver of competitive bid, and then the letter to authorize the purchase. And then there is another letter, if you'd like me to speak to that just while we're on parking garages. So in the conversations with Laz, just finalizing the contract, there were a few items that we were negotiating. And again, I think this just goes to speak to the challenge we continue to have, but I think are making really great progress on and getting our arms around the true cost of operating our garages. And so we are requesting to amend the ordinance in which we entered a contract with Laz to increase the amount that we would pay over the course of 3 years. It's an increase of $500,000 total over the course of 3 years. And again, some of that is due to just really trying to get our arms around the true cost of operating the garages. And so we would just request that the not to exceed limit be increased to, I think, roughly 3.2.
So we're adding another $500,000 over the course of 3 years. We're not, I know before we had said that we were going to do, when we did the new contract, that we were going to add it, like the sharing and, revenue or whatever, that we changed the way that we shared revenue with them. Is this increase because of that?
It's in part related to that. It's so that our costs can be a bit more predictable, and we've changed the arrangement that we had with our operators previously, where they have created a budget, and then they send us monthly statements regarding that budget. And both from an operational perspective, Pat Mona and I take a look at it. Finance takes a look at it to make sure that they're in line with the budget that the city has agreed to and that they've agreed to. So a little bit of that, you're right, Councilor Carney, a little bit of that change in structure led to a slight increase in costs over the course of the entire contract.
Are there any questions on that from my colleagues?
I will also point out that even with this increase, Laz is still by far the lowest bidder of the firms that were the finalists and that we interviewed.
You're confident that this will work?
Yes, I mean, so we wanted to make sure we finalize these costs before we sign the contract. So in the process of negotiating the contract, we identified some of these things that we wanted to make sure were predictable, things that we could check against their budget to make sure we didn't have any surprises. So, I mean, Laz has been really a great partner through this whole process as we kind of changed the way that we're doing things. We've had finance on board from the beginning. So I do have confidence that you won't be seeing us again coming before you for this item, but I do think that they're going to really help us get our garages to where they need to be in terms of accessibility and operation.
Thank you.
I mean, and also this equipment, I know it's a related item, but the equipment is also going to, reduce our labor costs, both for the staff required to collect payment and the physical staff that provide security.
Corey, is a quick question for you. How far off were the other bidders compared to Laz?
I think the closest one was at least $1 million more. I mean, I could get you the final numbers, but the next closest ones were close to each other, but they were at least $1 million. I think about $1 million more than what Laz had quoted us.
And how many had applied?
We had 9 folks total, and I think we've had interviews with 3 or 4 finalists that the RFP committee identified that we did, hour-long interviews with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are any more questions, I'm going to make a motion to put all 3 of these related items on the agenda.
I'm sorry, Councilor Carney. I forgot something else. Corey, any of them that was local?
There were a few that were, there was one I think that was local, but the presentation that they made to us, we just felt did not meet the expectations that we had outlined in the RFP, just in terms of specifics and that type of information. So, but there was at least one local firm in there.
Yeah, Counselor, I sat on that. There was a local group from Syracuse, and they just really didn't even come close to any being able to or having had experience in any of the, let's call it, technological advances that we wanted for our garages. Any more questions? Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to, again, put these three items on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second,
All right, all in favor?
aye.
Okay, and the next item appears to be the parking garage rehab program. We can see that.
So I see Pat Monin is on, but I can also speak to this one. So this is the money that we set aside in the CIP to address some of the structural issues in the garage. Each year, CNS, I think it's each year, at least every other year, CNS issues a report based on an inspection that they do of our garages to identify some structural issues that some are, in the immediate term, some are in the long term. They work with our trades to see what type of work we can perform in-house and what we need to do, what we might need to contract out. So this money will go towards those repairs. And I'd be happy to provide a copy of the report from CNS if anybody would like to see it.
Wouldn't mind it if you could share that with me. And then
Happy to.
also, I guess my question is along with this. So the rehab, this is more structural stuff that we're doing. Is this, even though we've contracted with Laz, may take over all day, maintenance and all taking care of it, still structural and all that stuff. Is this something that we're going to have to maintain and deal with going forward?
So, I think with a stronger preventative maintenance plan and by dealing with one operator, I think it's going to make it easier for us to identify some of these issues a bit earlier. But some of the things, if it's having to do with drainage, if it's having to do with elevators, if it's something really, something really beyond that day-to-day maintenance that Laz takes care of, obviously they do the striping, they do snow removal, they, do use the street sweeper to try and make sure that, it's clean. But in terms of some of more of those systems, like I said, like elevators, and if there's issues with some of the concrete, kind of the real actual structures of the garage, that's really more our responsibility. But even just in the few months that we've had Laz in charge of all the garages, we've been meeting with them every week, and they've been raising any concerns that they have with us so that we can address them a lot earlier, and try and do some preventative measures or address it quickly before it becomes a larger problem. So to answer your question, they provide a lot of the maintenance, that day-to-day maintenance, and then the garage as a structure still remains our responsibility. So maybe they would let us know
Right, thank
that
you.
something is up with an elevator before it becomes something that's going to cost us, $100,000 to fix. So we've established a good relationship with them on that front.
Now, Corey, this may not be a question for now, but maybe for you to look at it and maybe send me and maybe other counselors the answers to this. I would like to see the cost, what it costs the city to maintain and to run all of this in comparison to what the revenues are and stuff like that. I think we have that somewhere. I just don't have it. But if you could provide that, at least for me, just to see what we are investing in it every year and what the returns are at the end of the year.
I can absolutely share that information. I will say, this is also part of the partnership with Laz. We've also been working with finance to try and make sure that we're tracking our expenses and revenue by garage and not just a big account called parking garages that we're not sure, well, did we spend that all in Washington or did we spend it in Center Armory? There is a way in PeopleSoft that we can use codes to track exactly how much we've spent and how much we've received in each garage. But absolutely, Councilor Majoke, I can send you, what we have thus far, but just know that I think, even a few months from now, the process will continue to improve and it'll be even more, more accurate, but I can absolutely send you what we have thus far.
Yeah, and for me, I think it would make more sense to just break it down by garage, and just to see what is what, and
Yep,
that
I will send you,
yeah,
I will send you, everything I have, of
yeah, I appreciate it.
course.
Are there any more questions on this item?
Corey, if it helps, Mike LaMontagne has, this is Pat Monin, by the way. Mike LaMontagne has the spreadsheet on the revenues. And
Yeah, he was gonna be my first call. Thanks, Pat.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to put this on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second,
All in favor? All right.
right.
Okay, next item is the street lighting legacy pricing. It looks like, is there someone that can speak to that?
Good afternoon, Councilors. Ken Towsley, Street Lighting Manager. This is to continue the cost for our street lighting legacy, which covers the special lighting districts, the decorative fixtures throughout the city. What we use this money for is to address poles, fixtures, bases that need to be addressed. Majority of this is all done underground, which falls under our responsibility. And we're just asking for the bonding and proceed with that project going forward.
Okay,
Councilor Curley, I don't have question, but I just want to appreciate Ken for what he has been doing with the process. I've been calling him, and respond have been positive and very, very prompt. So Ken, thank you so much.
What I'm here for.
any other questions on this item? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to put this on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second,
All right, all in favor? All right.
Aye.
Okay, next is sewers capital equipment program. Speak to that item.
Good afternoon, Councilor Carney. This is Commissioner Robinson over at DPW. This item here is the 21-22 capital equipment program for the sewer department. We're going to use these funds to purchase sewer equipment. As you know that most of our vendors are probably 26 to 30 weeks out on building some of these equipment. So we're trying to get this in as fast as we can so we can not delay some of the building process.
Okay, I don't have any questions. I just want to say I appreciate. Thank you for including the Schedule A in there, so that gives us a breakdown of what we're doing. Are there any questions from my colleagues on this one? Oh, hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to put this on the agenda. Can I get a second?
second,
All right, all in favor?
aye.
Okay, great. Last item is the waiver to request for safety shoes. Speak to that one.
That's my item as well, Councilor Carney. We use two vendors, Granger and Duval, who specialize in our safety shoes that fit our criteria of our budget within that range of $75 shoes. They give us a variety for the employees, and they're local, so even Granger, and Duval, they usually come here for our employees, so it's a good thing to have those on contract.
Okay. Any questions on that item for my colleagues? All right. Hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to put this one on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second,
All right. All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Okay. And next item is the sanitary and storm sewer recon capital improvement program.
Me as well, Council Carney, Commissioner Robinson. This is a couple months ago, I believe we came to you with the 2021 sanitary storm sewer reconstruction program. And it's pretty much the same thing. We're using these funds in 21, 22 for our, some of our sewer problems that are bigger than that we can handle in-house. We usually contract those out where it involves a little bit more specialty that we can handle in-house. So we're just going for the funds a little earlier than normal.
How many of those big ones do we have, Commissioner, that require that special?
The big issues
Yes.
you're saying? I can't count offhand, but I know we had one just a few weeks ago over on right in front of forgot the bar over there. Is that Water Street, Corey? I'm not sure.
Saltine Warrior.
Saltine Warrior, yeah. We had a big issue over there that we couldn't handle in-house just a few weeks ago, and we had those guys come in an emergency basis, and they came in and was out before we even, before the bar even noticed. So those are the things that they specialize in. Things like that we can't do quick as they can, and not have the public suffer for it. We don't want anyone, especially downtown area, that area to be, suffering from lack of patrons in their bar or restaurant.
Councilors, this is Mary Robinson. We also use this money to line some of our sewers and replace some of them. We are planning to replace and line some of the sewers in the West Genesee Street corridor in advance of the West Genesee Street mill and pave next year. So this money, some of this money would also be for lining and sewer replacement for that.
Thanks, Mary. You're right. I forgot to add that. Apologies.
Okay, are there any questions on this item from my colleagues? All right, hearing no other questions, I'm going to make a motion to put this on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and I believe that was the last item for the meeting today, unless anyone has anything else. Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm going to conclude the standing committee meeting. All those items are ready for the agenda, and everyone have a nice rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.